Now we look at our first headline story, and the village of Dover in the Volta region is a taboo-ridden one. Women are barred from delivering there, just as animal rearing is abhorred. Now, when a person passes on, families have to trek out to seek a piece of land in another village to bury their dead. And Odilo Fori visited the village and has filed this very report.
Dover is a village at Central Tongue in the Volta region. The taboos in a small village are absolutely gobsmacking. Hearing it for the first time, I thought, what a telltale. So I set out to seek the truth. At 3 p.m. when we arrived in Dover, the chief and his elders sat in patience. Togbi Saklika was poised to answer any question. According to him, his village had received the flack for too long. Obviously, why women are denied basic rights, such as delivering in the village, will top my list of questions.
In
this village, the dead is not buried here. Women are not allowed to deliver. Nobody is supposed to rear animals here. In fact, never.
And he went on to get lurid. Have a baby in secret, and abnormalities will set in. In the case of emergencies, however, rituals are performed.
In case a woman has to deliver unexpectedly in this village, we perform rituals or speak to the gods.
So why not abolish the tradition totally if rituals of some sort are allowed at some point? He states emphatically that abolishing the tradition will attract the ire of the gods. The severity of the situation is played up in the construction of a healthcare facility meant for the town. It had to be situated outside the village. Right on, the boundary between Dover and the next town is a clinic being built where I hear you can have children. So as I'm standing here, if I am pregnant and I have to give birth, I better hop there in another town where I could have children. And when I'm done, I come back. Not even a palace secretary who yearns his educational heights succumbed to the abolishing of the tradition in the 21st century.
When you break the rule, the child will be born just abnormal. And if that happens, you've got to pronounce that to the elders so that they perform rites for the child's normality.
The taboos here are enormous. You could, for instance, only be allowed into this mangrove topless or naked, depending on your outfit.
Even if you are in the family and you are not baptized, that way you cannot enter there with them, because there's some secrets in that worship, so that if you are someone who is a hooligan and you enter them, they will drive you away.
Talking to women affected by the tradition was ineffective, as most women we even filmed on camera did not know we were filming them. Such taboos heavily penetrated in the very fabric of such communities without a shred of doubt. Hertz attempt at addressing maternal mortality, for instance. Cars are hardly common sight here, so motorbikes are the order of the day, carrying expectant mothers to neighboring villages, the nearest being about 2 miles. Odilo Fori, TV3 News.
Very interesting there. Odilo Fori's report from Dover. Remember, you can send your comments on Facebook and Twitter, News on TV3 or shortcode 1734. In some other news, a 3-story building located at Zongo Junction, Ire Town, a suburb in Accra, is a death trap. The structure currently houses 5 different tenants, numbering about 20, including children. But despite the dangers, residents are reluctant to evacuate.
Some residents retorted the building was more than 50 years old. It was evident the Accra Metropolitan Assembly had visited the site and had warned occupants about the probable collapse of the structure, but occupants are reluctant to evacuate. The building has developed serious cracks, exposing the corroded iron rods. It was evident the building was at the verge of collapse. Some tenants, we were told, evacuated the building some years ago, but others have complained that they are cash-strapped.
It's
very difficult these days to rent a room. The landlords charge 3 to 4 years of rent advance. I can't pay because my child is also schooling.
3 years.
The news team gathered the landlord is a Nigerian and still gives the rooms out for rent irrespective of its current condition. His daughter, including her 4 children, live in the premises. Hajia Hawaii lives in this dangerous building, but unfortunately, she wobbles and complained about not having anywhere to reside.
Are you waiting for the building to collapse on you? I don't have money. That's why I stay here.
You see, we are read. What's been done? What's been yashe? Nothing for your day. Tell no chance.
The current condition, what happens when the building is collapsing? I can't talk anymore.
Some residents in the area said the state of the structure was worrying.
The building is very dangerous, and those there are neighbors. Therefore, whatever affects them affects us too.
At Kaneshi, some 4 shops close to the First Light intersection have been marked as dangerous, but one remains occupied. Nanayao, the owner of the shop who spoke off camera, told TV3 the building has been marked for the past 6 months, but not moving out anytime soon. The iron rods have been exposed and cracks visible, questioning the structural integrity of the building. The plastering on one of the pillars has also chipped off. Demolition exercise has already begun in 2 of the shops, but Nanayao said the landlord has offered him the opportunity to renovate his shop.
Now, danger is looming around the Paradise residential estate at Dompila 2 in Accra, where an ECG pole has developed deep cracks. Residents claim attempts to getting authorities to replace the pole have proved futile. Here's Daniel Late's report.
The pole is situated few meters from this house and a danger to several children who play around it. Although there are electricity poles all over, residents again say they experience frequent power surge. Yet, the environment has also been without water for several years. This is the only borehole serving the community.
We are suffering of water and light off.
Again, residents complain a highly patronized road linking the community to the main Dom Atomic Road is untarred.
When it rains and you come here, you see that it's not something that should be left like this.
Yet, efforts to get authorities to respond to their plight has remained futile.
Every time they take light in the whole area of Paradise Estate area, the other areas around the wasteland, they have constant light supplies. Our area for ages now, the place is just the same like that.
Even the main gutter.
No gutter, no street.
We want them to fulfill the promises they are giving to us. They should do our road for us. Supply us with constant water. If the pump at Legon is poor, how much does it cost to buy a new pump? We are suffering.
Now, Koniya, a small farming community in the Bekwai municipality of the Ashanti region, has virtually become a ghost town as men in the area have fled. We're trying to get our reporter Ibrahim Abubakar, who is there, to tell us what really is happening in that community. So when we do get him, we'll talk to him on Midday Live. But while we're trying and while we're waiting to get Ibrahim Abubakar, government is considering a legislation to set up a national pilgrimages board to replace the ad hoc pilgrimage committee. President Mahama says the national body will have a permanent secretariat staffed with professionals to handle all religious pilgrimages, including the Hajj. Kojo Effort has more.
The National Chief Imam, Dr. Sheikh Nuhu Shaributu, led all 10 regional imams and the imams of the Tijaniya, Al-Sunnah and Shia sect of Islam to pay a courtesy call on President Mahama at the Flagstaff House. Also congratulating the president was a delegation of the National Council of Zongo Chiefs. Both groups called for the expansion of secular education in Muslim communities and also advocated Arabic to be made an examinable subject by the West African Examinations Council, WAEC. President Mahama commended Ghanaians for the peaceful coexistence of all religions in the country.
We'll upgrade teaching and learning in the schools that are closest to our communities. Some of the secondary schools are in a poor state, and a lot of the basic schools are also in a poor state. While building schools and eliminating schools under trees, we should also look at rehabilitating existing schools that are in a poor condition.
The president added, government will deepen interventions to uplift deprived segments and communities in the country. He revisited the recent dissolution of the Hajj board.
The eventual wish is for us to back the process of pilgrimage with the appropriate legislation and have a permanent board that is responsible for pilgrimages. And so I have been advocating the formation of a national pilgrimages board that will be responsible for pilgrimages and have a permanent secretariat that is staffed by professionals who would handle all kinds of pilgrimages in this country.
Still at the Flagstaff House, representatives of the Fishermen's Council of the Central and Western Regions and the Corporate Social Responsibility Movement, an NGO, have called on President Mahama to investigate corruption in the distribution of premixed fuel and fishing implement.
President Mahama again has urged the public to be alert for persons attempting to perpetrate any act of violence following the country's decision to participate in the peace efforts in Mali. According to him, although Ghanaian soldiers will not be involved directly in the move to flush out the rebels in Mali, the probability of a backlash from some of the rebels in the region remained high.
Our company is going to be involved in construction of barracks, construction of bridges, opening up roads, setting up field hospitals, so that when soldiers or the civilian population are injured, they can have access to medical facilities.
He insisted Mali is a sister nation, hence Ghana's involvement in the crucial military action. The president, however, cautioned of a possible backlash following its decision to help the process to restore constitutional rule in a troubled West African nation.
So even though we're not directly involved in combat, we should still be careful that we can have a backlash, from those who are involved in the fighting in Mali. And so I would urge you to keep your eyes open in the event that any attempt is made to destabilize or create violence in Ghana as a result of our participation in what is going on in Mali.
You're still watching Midday Live. Now, playing music on mobile phones is a fashion statement among the youth, but to a 14-year-old school dropout, the fashion failed to glitter. The teenager had his wrists chopped off Sunday afternoon by a 55-year-old taxi driver at Hacho in Accra.
The incident occurred around 12:30 Sunday afternoon in a family house at Hacho near Medina. The suspect, 55-year-old Bedusoa, was reported to have slashed the left wrist of the 14-year-old victim because of a disagreement over music the victim was listening to on his mobile phone. According to ASP Christian Sropenyo of the Medina Dofsu, even though the victim responded to Bedu's demand to stop playing the music on his mobile phone, the suspect was not satisfied. Bedusoa reportedly asked the victim to to move away, threatening to cut off his legs. The police said the suspect then swung a cutlass towards the boy, which ended slashing his left wrist. The victim was rushed to the hospital where he was treated and discharged. The police moved in later to arrest Bedusoa.
Now, the Ghana Institution of Surveyors is asking government to partner it in the redevelopment of urban centers in the country. The institute reiterated its importance to development in the country.
Poor planning remains a bane to growth. As the world reviews its performance on the Millennium Development Goals, evidence shows that effective urban planning could contribute enormously.
It is precisely the aim of this year's conference to draw government's attention to the problem of urban decay and the need to address the challenges by embarking on a massive urban renewal process to rid our cities of all the undesirable elements.
The immediate past president of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Kwadwo Asante, explained that institute's influence was limited in the construction of the N1 highway.
Originally, the N1 was supposed to be a highway. For budgetary constraints, it has been turned into a motorway. There's a huge difference between a highway and a motorway. There were supposed to be more than 5 interchanges along that route. Budgetary constraints brought us to where we have now. So you realize that these were the constraints that has brought us untold hardships along that road. And whatever we have got there is out of the issue.
The group has appealed to government to fast-track the passage of the Survey Council and the Estate Agency bills.
For some more stories on Midday Live, and the Member of Parliament for the Ododo-Diodio constituency, Neil Ante Vanderpoy, has tasked the Jamestown District Police to clamp down on criminal haps in the area. He also asked the police to approach their duties with extreme professionalism.
Jamestown is widely perceived as a haven for criminals.
The police are aware of some of the difficult areas we have in this area, which have become almost a haven for thieves, armed robbers, and other criminals. It is my hope and prayer that we flush the undesirables from our society, because many a time these few individuals cause problem for the whole community. And I said, I will be happy if we work together with the police, then all these dens of armed robbers, thieves, and troublemakers, we will be able to dismantle them, so we will live in a peaceful Ododo-Diodio.
He spoke against undue interference in the work of the police.
If you offend the law and the policeman comes, be disciplined, be respectful, and plead. But to engage the policeman in a scuffle and attack a policeman is not only disrespect to his uniform, but disrespect to the president of this country. Please, if anybody comes to you using my name or my office to plead on behalf of that person, please count me out.
My name is Kwekutemi. Many thanks for joining us. Let's get to our very first story this afternoon. Now, the Executive Director of Imani Center for Policy Analysis, Franklin Kuju, has urged Ghanaians to bite the dust and pay realistic prices for fuel they use. Now, he says, although a painful decision, it is the only way government can offload the huge debt burden on its back. Franklin Kuju said almost all government policies on subsidies had not benefited the target group.
If you look carefully at the way we've managed our subsidy regimes in this country all this while, it's never worked well. Fertilizer subsidy as of last year was a complete mess. Subsidy on LPG gas has never worked. We end up subsidizing people we shouldn't be subsidizing, because the idea behind the subsidy is for people who are apparently poor to benefit. But nothing of the sort happens.
He said the best option for Ghanaians will be to face reality and pay realistic prices for fuel.
This time around, government believes, look, we can't keep on eating our cakes and having it. So let's take the bull by the horn. I agree. But what they need to do right now is to ensure the proper economic development, not the type that is propaganda. 30, 20, 40%. Those things don't work. Go down, give local people the autonomy to retain a bit of the businesses they do back home, back in the various districts by way of taxation policy, and that's the way it has to work.
We'll move on to the mining sector now, and this time we're touching on some story that might not be so palatable. Now, Koniyaw, a small mining community in the Bakwai municipality of the Ashanti region, is virtually a ghost town as all the men in the area have fled. Now, I have on the phone our Ashanti regional correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar to give me more details. A very good afternoon, Ibrahim. Thanks for joining us on Midday Live.
Thank you very good to me.
Well, Ibrahim, let me find out from you. Are there men at Koniyaw?
I would say there are no men. We were able to chance upon 2 old men. They were the only men we saw at Koniyaw. The remaining are females and children. One thing worrying here is that schools have been shut down temporarily because we learned that the teachers are now at large, and the students lamented to us that this issue is affecting the academic work, especially the JHS students, JHS 3 students who are due to write their final exams in June. They are now at home, they are doing nothing, schools are not in session, economic.
Now, Abubakar, refresh us on, for the sake of a person who is just hearing the story for the first time. Now, what led to all the men in the town abandoning the town?
So that
well, we're sorry, we're getting some interruptions. If you can position yourself very well, I'll be very grateful, Ibrahim. I'm sorry, I'm losing Ibrahim on the line, but I'm even more interestingly being joined by the Public Relations Officer of the National Association of Small-Scale Miners to touch on the development of some of these stories and look at other details. But even before I get there, I hear Ibrahim is back. Ibrahim, you were just making a point when the line went bad.
Well, what I was trying to say was that on Friday, that was last week, some military men and forest officers went to Koniyaw in attempt to stop some galamsey activities from the area because the illegal miners are depleting the forest there, which for the Forestry Commission. So when they went there, what happened was that the soldiers, even though they were armed, they didn't attempt to shoot anybody, and the residents there, in attempt to also resist the soldiers from banning the activities, they engaged them into fight, and unfortunately 2 soldiers, 2 military men were injured. So they are now at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. So this also, in reaction to this, the military men to troop to the place. So they were arresting every single man. Initially it wasn't even men alone. They were arresting both men and women in the community. So this made the people to run away. And as I'm still speaking, we went there. Some women are back. The children too are there. But then we can't find any single man in the community.
All right. So at least we have a bit of the story ahead. Just give us the current situation. Are there security personnel still hovering around the town? That's Koniyaw.
Well, we couldn't. Initially, the initial reports was that there were military men in the area. When we went there, we couldn't find any military person. We saw 2 policemen who were even leaving the town as at the time we entered the community.
All right,
Ibrahim, in the morning. So there is no security presence in the community.
Ibrahim, many thanks for giving us that update. We're sure to get more answers on this particular development in that area. But thanks for bringing us this information. Well, we've been looking at small-scale mining, well, some of the illegal mining issues going on, and we're being joined in the studios by the Public Relations Officer of the National Association of Small-Scale Miners, Francis Opoku. Many thanks for joining us in the studios. I'm sure you are well aware of some of these developments around mining communities. Too unfortunate.
Yeah, Kwaku, to be honest, it's true. It's unfortunate. illegal mining activities is going on everywhere, and this is a time every Tom, Dick, and Harry has to, take up the challenge, and then we face it and then eradicate it completely.
Let me ask you, is the association dead? Are you not able to regulate this miners, so small-scale miners or illegal miners? Are you not able to regulate the operations very well?
Yeah, if you say the association is dead, it's interesting because we, the association, number one, our primary interest is to protect our members. When I talk about our members, I mean registered concessionaires. And then, you see, Mineral Commission is the government agency that is responsible for controlling or, fighting against this illegality. But we assist in that direction through our educations, and then, we go around, we try to get all these people under our umbrella, register them.
I was asking these questions because I envisage that the Mineral Commission has supported you with vehicles, has supported you with, some technical support, and what they expect is people who are illegal miners, you would be able to rope them into the small-scale miner association so that you'll be able to regulate the activities so that they would not cause a lot of harm to our environment. But have you been able to successfully do this?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we've been able to successfully achieve 100% result, but it's an ongoing project we've embarked on. We go around, we try to establish local associations, and recently we inaugurated a place like Asankrugwa, and then once we inaugurate this association, we give them education. But the problem is that, see, let's look at the people involved in these illegal mining activities. Sometimes it's amazing. You go to a place and then you realize there are chiefs involved in it, and sometimes even government officials. It's amazing who are involved in this. So when it's like that, fighting it becomes very difficult. But as an association, I think we are doing our maximum best to see how best we can arrest this situation.
Show me the way forward when you say you are doing your best. How? Give me the pragmatic outlay of these, and these are the ways we intend tackling this canker, so to say, with illegal mining. How do you intend addressing it?
Yes, number one.
Let's not forget that they shot at uniformed men, military men.
Yeah. Actually, what happened at Konyao is an unfortunate situation, and we, as an association, condemn it with all vigor. Yeah. I think those who perpetrated that kind of thing should be brought to book, and we will do our best to go around and help. The police, bring all these guys.
But going forward, how would you prepare the minds of miners, so-called small-scale miners, so that eventually they don't end up, becoming very violent, but becoming law-abiding and operating such that they can even reclaim the land? You can see some pictures on our screens right now. It could be nice if they could mine at a concession and help reclaim. Are there provision for reclamation of land?
Yeah, you see, this issue boils down to the illegalities going on, because small-scale miners are miners with license. So if you work and you don't reclaim the land, the government will fall on you to come and do it. But you look at the majority, about 70% of the people are into illegal mining. You see, and it's a disturbing situation. But you see, mining should be done responsibly. We have a way. EPA has a specific way of going about mining. You see, the rivers, even you have to leave about 100 meters before you start. So if the law enforcement agencies are to monitor the activities of miners, I'm talking about EPA, the Mineral Commission, and then whoever is responsible for checking these things, I think it will work. So as an association, we have started a program.
Okay.
We are going around, and it's a collaboration between the association, the DISEC, the district security, committee of the various districts, and then the police. We go around, we make sure that we bring the people who are mining, especially the legal miners, into some kind of signing undertaking.
Okay.
That if
a memorandum of understanding between the association and they themselves.
Exactly. So that if they work and they don't comply with the lay down regulations, they don't reclaim the land, we take them to court. And we started at Wasakopong 2 weeks ago. So we are going to replicate it all the other districts, and I think with that it will work. And then another thing we are looking at is like we want to, go to the district, wherever mining activities are going on, and we involve, it's an all-inclusive kind of arrangement where we involve the chiefs. You, the chief there at that particular village, we will make you a patron to the association, the local association there. The police commander there will also give you a responsibility there. So when it's like that, it becomes very difficult to compromise their stand.
Of course, to flout the mining rules. But my last question to you is, how do we ensure that this brilliant idea that you're churning out does not become a 9-day wonder or sort of a toothless law?
Yeah, I think here we need support, from the government. See, this issue of illegalities has become a national issue. My brother, look at the water. The river bodies, the deforestation and all this stuff. So we need the support from the government to provide logistics for that. It's a small association, we just young. So the government through the Mineral Commission should come in. And to be honest, Mineral Commission have been doing well in recent times. And then we need support too from the chiefs, you see, and the opinion leaders. When we go there, they should all know that our forests, our rivers are for us and for our generation yet unborn. So if you should destroy them, what becomes of us?
All right, our rivers for all of us. Francis Opoku just laying that point right there. He's the public relations officer of the Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners, or the National Association of Small Scale Miners. Francis, many thanks for coming into the studio. It's an issue you really have to work on with your team.